Hey guys, this is Hector from the Insert Name FC podcast here to tell you guys about Canadips. It is a great tasting, superior alternative to traditional dip using CBD in a way that is radical, enjoyable, and effective. It comes in 5 core flavors: wintergreen, mint, citrus, mango, and American spice. Canadips CBD is the new evolution in dip, allowing guys to enjoy great, long-lasting taste without the downsides. If you guys want to go ahead and try them out, use the code BELLYUP20 at CanadipsCBD.com. Once again, BELLYUP20 at CanadipsCBD.com, and you'll get yourself 20% off your purchase. Thank you again for Canadips for being a great partner of Belly Up Sports. Europa Conference League, the semifinals have concluded, and we'll go with the first one, with the first matchup, which was Chelsea beating Jugarden 5-1 on aggregate, and I mean, it wasn't close. You know, Chelsea, all eyes are on Chelsea right now. This is where Chelsea, you know, their season has been going the way it's been going, and it doesn't look like there's necessarily that light. Well, I mean, I think they're still playing for a Champions League position as far as the table goes, because obviously, Premier League does have 5 Champions League spots this year, but Chelsea, I mean, still there's a trophy on the line. I mean, that's something, at least for them to finally see something good out of this Todd Bowley era, because I know this Todd Bowley era has been, it's been depressing. It's situation to situation is all I'm gonna say. But yeah, Chelsea did beat Jugarden 5-1. I mean, like I said, this Chelsea is clearly just the best team in this tournament. I mean, they're literally they're literally undefeated.
Yeah.
So
no, they've played well. Honestly, this is one of those ones. Jugarden was one of the teams that just managed to sneak their way through, and I shouldn't say sneak their way, because that's almost disingenuous to how well they played. But at the same time, I mean, they weren't the team that was expected to move on in any one of their matchups. At least not since the first knockout round matchup. You know, and feel bad for them. If it's on the other side of the table, there's a potential possibility, like, you know, they end up matching up with Chelsea in the finals. It just didn't work out that way. But yeah, Chelsea, I mean, absolutely dominant in most of the tournament. Did only lose one to Legia Warsaw, and that was in the quarterfinals. So, but that was in the second leg. They had aggregate 4-2 already, anyways. So it's okay. They're not too concerned about the whole thing. But yeah, Chelsea needs something to play for, and this is the best thing they have to play for right now. So, maybe you're missing the Christian Pulisic days.
yeah, I doubt that.
Every Chelsea fan just threw something at their screen right now as they're listening to this.
Definitely not that. That's look. I like we've said it plenty of times though. COVID Pulisic was unreal. That's
yeah.
And I think that's most Chelsea fans.
Close Stadium Pulisic was great.
I think a lot of Chelsea fans, I think, also have said COVID Pulisic was pretty good. After that, yeah. So.
No. I have to poke the Bears though. Chelsea. Obviously, no love lost between Liverpool fans and Chelsea fans. So dealt with them enough.
Fair enough, man. And then on the other side, we have Real Betis beating Fiorentina. Fiorentina once again, heartbreak in the Europa Conference League. This is now so they've been in the final. They were in the first 2 finals, and then obviously lost both. They lost to, I believe it was Rome. Yeah, it was Jose Mourinho's Roma, and then losing it to Declan Rice before leaving for Arsenal. Yeah. So at least he got to lift a trophy before anything happened for him. But yeah, so fair. Fiorentina once again heartbreak. But this Real Betis team, man, I mean, 4-3 on aggregate, 2-1 win on the first leg, and then it was a 2-2 draw. Fiorentina once again playing for their lives, trying to finally lift this cup, but they just couldn't do it once again. And Real Betis, I think, such a sneaky good team, man. Like, I mean, the players that they have on this roster, Johnny Cardozo is obviously the first name that I think of, being that he's the American. But then also you have Anthony, who has just found his groove back after leaving Manchester United. So, for you Manchester United players, they're clearly, literally the grass is greener, or literally greener, because it's Real Betis. So, yeah. And I believe Cucho Hernandez also is in Real Betis.
That sounds correct. I might be wrong though. Yeah, you have me second guessing everything.
I believe that's where he went to. I
Mm,
hope I'm right because this is gonna just make me look like an
I don't
idiot.
think so. I don't think so.
Cucho,
No,
Cucho Hernandez is not with Real Betis?
I don't see him on their roster. Lo Celso is though. Bellerin is.
That's a name. Bellerin. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, yeah. I don't see Cujo on there at all.
No, yeah, he is in Real Betis.
Oh, he must just not be on their roster, their lineup for the last matchup, or I'm overlooking it.
Is he injured? Anyways, probably not that.
Yeah, it's whatever. No,
Yeah.
I agree with you though. I think Real Betis they got the best out of Anthony after that transfer move. He's playing out of his mind. You mentioned Johnny Cardoso. He's if he's not a Liverpool, or not a Liverpool, but if he's not on the transfer target for a lot of teams going forward, to just be a solid midfielder, he doesn't have to be anything special. I'm thinking like Scott Sinclair style, minus the trying to break David Beckham's ankles.
Yeah,
Um,
Cucho was starting.
was he
Well,
starting?
he started last game against for Real Betis. Actually, that's the last game. Anyway, not
Okay.
important.
No, but yeah, so it's one of those things that they're. You also mentioned players they have. By the way, Isco
Isco.
just happens to captain that squad. So shout out Isco. Um, but no, I think this is a situation where that team has found their groove at the right time, and that's the thing with this tournament. That league table is meant to set you up for a potential run in the knockout stage, and that's what you see from Real Betis. It's Fiorentina continues to be that bad luck team when it comes to tournaments. It's been a long time since they had themselves an actual opportunity, not named Conference League, and every Conference League just seems to be disappointing in the end for them. So it's a tough break, but Real Betis on the other end though, it's a team to watch out for, and don't give Anthony a set piece near the box. Is right what I'm seeing right now. The amount of times this man has put a shot on goal or on target or threatened a goalkeeper or scored from a free kick at this point in time in his short Real Betis career is stupid. Like it's not fair. It's like Andrea Pirlo levels of just unfair at times.
Which I think I do believe Anthony's team is working on trying to make this loan a permanent
Well, to be fair, do
move.
you blame him?
So no, you're going from a very for people to understand Manchester United, especially if you're an American, it's like if you play for a New York team.
Fair.
Like you're going to be heavily criticized no matter what you do. They're the English media is probably up there as like super critical, and I know we said some things about disrespectful like to CONCACAF players. I don't give a shit at this point. Sorry for cussing, Kelsey. But
I don't care.
but they are also just as critical and disrespectful is probably a good word for them as well toward their own people. I
Yeah.
mean, if we remember the Euro where England was in the final, actually wow, they were okay. They were in the 2020 Euro.
Yeah.
In the
Yeah.
2020 Euro when you had Saka miss a penalty, I believe Jadon Sancho also missed the
Yeah.
penalty as well, and I forgot who was the third person.
Bellingham. Was it Bellingham or was it Trent?
No, I think it was Bellingham. Oh no,
It
Rashford.
was Rashford. Yeah, there you go.
Rashford.
Because it was their three main black players.
Yeah,
And
that's kind of where, unfortunately, that was kind of where it went down to, where,
yeah,
you know,
and yeah, it was a terrible
and
situation.
even though
And
the South has been having claims, but
hey,
look, that just goes,
England conquered the world is all I got to say. They
it
didn't do
just,
it because they were nice.
I think it just goes back to show you that, like, the world isn't perfect. Like,
Yeah.
people try, and this is, I'm not trying to get political here, obviously, but like, people criticize that this country has all its flaws, but let's be honest, all countries have its flaws. Hell, El Salvador, let's be honest, as much as I love Bukele, might be a dictator. Might be, maybe, probably. He
Look,
might
I'm
be.
on a few lists, so I'm going to stop myself from saying anything political. I don't need to add myself to any more lists. I'll say that much. But no, look, to kind of round up
Yeah,
this media thing with Man United, though, I think you're right. You're under a microscope, not just on the pitch, but off the pitch. And I think that's the one thing with all of this, especially when you talk foreign players coming in, they're not used to. A lot of times, like unless you're Kaká in Brazil, Ronaldinho in Brazil, Kaká in Milan, well, Ronaldinho in Milan, you know, Paris with Ibrahimovic, you don't get a lot of teams where you can't go outside. But with Man United, if you're supposedly a star player, or you're one of their top players or one of their starters
Or
regularly,
you just spend a lot of money on a player.
yeah, and you were a big signing, you can't go anywhere. I hate using the Goal reference, the movie Goal, but it's very much like they talk about in that movie, where it is you were swarmed nonstop. And, you know, obviously Real Madrid is the place where they were swarmed, but you saw Newcastle, he was fine to go running, he's going to fine to go around, you know. It is very similar with Man United.
The
They are
stakes are
just
just
that.
simply higher. The stakes are
Yeah,
just simply higher.
it means more. You know,
Yeah.
they were the number one team in the country until now the new title holders took that away. But that means a lot to United fans.
And they just want to go back to that time period. You
Yeah.
know, if they could just go back in time and stop Jose Mourinho and stop Sir Alex Ferguson from handing the keys to this Ferrari to David Moyes, I'm sure everybody would go back to that day and put a stop to that and try to talk Fergie to do one last ride
Yeah.
and keep it
Or
on a loop.
found a better coach.
Or find a better coach. It's astounding the amount of coaches that have gone through Manchester United, but that's not important. Anyways, but yeah, Anthony just he went into a place where I think the worst part of it all was the fact that Manchester United brings in Ten Hag, right? This guy, the next bright bald mind, and you think that this is gonna work. I believe he was a Pep assistant at one point as well.
Yeah.
Um, as you know, so you see what he did with Ajax, you're like, oh, that's just gonna keep getting better. And then what do? You bring one of the players from that Ajax team. Actually, you brought a few players from that Ajax team, and you're like, okay, they know his tactics, they know how the play is supposed to be done. So you bring in Anthony, which was like a no brainer, go get him kind of guy. It was no one was disagreeing to not get Anthony, which is one of my things that I'm one of my gripes with Manchester United fans because it's like you get mad at your ownership group. Well, obviously this is Glazer's bad, but then you go after the guys that that in on paper you should go after. You went after Ten Hag, you got Ten Hag. You went after Anthony, you got Anthony. You stole Lisandro Martinez from Arsenal. Things like that. You went and got the guys, right? Like they just didn't pan out, and that's the reality of this game too. In any sport, you go and get that high profile player. Maybe not high. Maybe I'm over exaggerating with high profile, but you bring in a player in hopes that they're going to change the dynamic of this team. And I mean that's exactly what happened with Anthony. Just the pressure, the weight of the pressure of all Manchester United fans hoping for another trophy after I don't know when was the last time they won a trophy. I know I think it was with Jose Mourinho actually.
It was the FA Cup.
Oh, the FA Cup. Apologies.
Yeah.
Yeah. How could I forget?
Yeah, I mean they had a run at the league. What, 3 years ago, 4 years ago?
Yeah. Well, they did have that, and then they just. I mean, Man City
Fell,
was just
fell off a cliff in February.
Yeah, but Man City was also no one was touching that Man City team.
No, they were incredible.
But yeah, anyways, I digress. But now Anthony, he's with Real Betis. I think it's a lot more refreshing. La Liga. I think it's more well suited for him. I think in a technical aspect, and I think once again it's just a different type of culture. Real Betis is such a from what I've seen, it just seems like a very warm presence over there. Like
Yeah.
guys like Guardado is very much well loved from that club, and I'm sure that's the same thing with guys like Hector Bellerin and why these guys stay with Real Betis for so long. Hell, Isco went from Sevilla to Real Betis. Those are rivals,
Yeah.
And they love that guy.
Well,
So I think it's just a different atmosphere, and you know, you can see that there's he's playing freely.
yeah.
He's playing like he played when he was with Ajax, and I think you're starting to see him have fun again. He's not getting criticized for doing the little weird ball spin thing that he did that everyone like immediately shut him down. The meme of him doing the people's eyebrow, all those things. All I know, I'm just saying, great. comeback story for him, which is funny because I really think of last year when Jadon Sancho went to Borussia Dortmund on loan. You
Yeah.
know, he looked he looked a lot fresher. He looked like he was having fun again, and you know he was a big part of Borussia's Dortmund run to the Champions League final.
Yeah, no, it's always something to mention that some players are just not built to play in England. Some players are meant to play in space. You see it all the time, especially Italian, Spanish, South American players. The English Premier League is not all it's cracked up to be when it comes down to technical ability. There's a lot of strong defenders in the EPL, and guys like Anthony don't necessarily do well when they're constantly being pushed, constantly being touched, constantly being tackled, and allowing him to go somewhere and get that confidence back, get that freedom. And by the way, coached by Manuel Pellegrini of all people, who knows how to allow a player to thrive by themselves. I think it's a situation where he walked in, and as you said, Betis is what it is. I mean, it's a very fun, caring fan base. They care, but they're not rude about caring.
It's also the same fan base I think does like the teddy bears, right?
Yeah, yeah. So one of the best franchises I think in the
Clubs.
Big Five. Yeah,
Clubs.
Sorry, clubs, franchises, whatever, fan bases. That's what I was actually going for. But in the Big Five European leagues, I think it's one of those teams you just root for at the end of the day, where you just like you can't hate them. Whereas like you can hate a Chelsea, you can hate an Arsenal, you can hate a Liverpool. You can't really hate Real Betis unless you're a Sevilla fan. Like that's pretty much the only team out there that can say they don't like Real Betis.
Who is that guy?